Thursday's edition, last Leap Day. It's Leap Day edition of the In No Particular Order podcast with the most spectacular Leap Day group of guests. They would be spectacular on actually any day. But now they're more spectacular because we have an extra day to just embrace their spectaculariness. And it's a word I just made up, and it's a good word, and I'm keeping it. So deal with it.
I'm writing it down.
I think you should. I think everyone should. We are going to mock draft the best halftime Super Bowl shows, but instead of going 7 rounds, we're going to go 4 rounds because we have decided, and by the way, I mean I decided, and then they agreed with me. Thank you. That there's really only 23 legitimately good halftime shows, like legitimately good. There's, there were halftime shows that Marcus and Jorge know about that were legitimately bad.
I'm gonna tweet these to you so you guys can watch them.
Up with people. I'm telling you, it's up with people. It's the 101.
It's definitely
Man, I don't even remember this.
people in my life right now. So the order that they are drafting in was absolutely random. Mr. Grant will go first, Marcus will go first, Mr. Martin will go second, Mr. Allen will go third, Mr. Allen will go fourth, and I will go last. It's a snake draft. So we will snake back around so I get 2 picks. And then apparently we're doing a 3rd round reversal. And
you choose to pick again? Like what?
I know. I like
this.
I will trade somebody my first for their second and third.
Well, I want to see what's if my pick is coming up, so then I might want to jump somebody.
I have like 8 picks, and I'm sure that they're all going to be gone like the first 4 picks. So, hey Jamie, what's up, Jamie? Who is at his car wash working?
Oh, cool.
And I know he's
Working
super
at
cool.
the car wash. Sorry.
That would be great. And I do. There are a bunch of great guests today, Jamie. That is a true statement.
Because you're great, Gladys.
100%.
That's so not a true statement. If you only knew. All right, are we ready?
Let's do it.
I'm on the clock.
You're on the clock.
Yeah, there were 2 ways I could go with this one. And I assume that the one I don't pick is the one that's probably going to go number 2.
Uh-huh.
So I'm going to take it the 1.01. We sort of talked about this before the show. I'm going to take Michael Jackson in 1993 because it is sort of the one that made fans, the NFL, like everybody realized that, hey, the halftime show could be sort of an event, which honestly, thinking back on it, is sort of a surprise that it took that long for the NFL to clue in, just because I remember as a kid, like everybody talking about how great the Orange Bowl halftime show was, like when bowl games were like really still a thing, and everybody talking about the Orange Bowl halftime show. It's amazing. I never really got that as a kid, but it was a thing. And so why it took the NFL 20 something years, 25, 26 years to figure out that maybe the Super Bowl halftime show could be a thing. It's kind of amazing. But Michael Jackson, because it took us away from the just generic era. It took us away from the era of the Elvis Prestos and like high school marching bands that preceded preceded that performance there in '93.
I think it was like a year or 2 ago. I read an article about this one woman who was like her high school cheerleading team were part of the halftime show in the very first Super Bowl in 1967, and so they dug her up. So yeah, that's what the Super Bowl one happened.
I mean, Super Bowl one.
It was just thrown together.
Right. Mm-hmm. Tickets were also like $20 or something like that for Super Bowl one, something like
they really haven't gone up in price very much.
$20 won't get you in the parking lot nowadays.
Absolutely not. I don't even think it gets you some food.
Right. So, yeah.
$20 will probably get you on someone's like lawn or something like that.
Maybe.
Yeah.
To watch it through their front window. Like that's
actually that's a good business idea.
Oh, you should see right around the Coliseum on USC days. So Marcus will attest.
The Rose Bowl, all those houses like coming down the road to the Rose Bowl. Absolutely.
You can see inside the stadium?
You can't, but you can park on somebody's lawn for $75 and walk down the hill.
Oh. Mm-hmm.
Yep.
To watch UCLA get run over. Not that I'm biased or anything.
No. Not at all.
You know what? I agree. It really did feel like it was an event. I mean, Michael. I mean, it's fitting that it was Michael because he was just. I mean, you know, he
stage presence, everything.
Yeah.
Oh man,
100%.
Just incredible.
Like Flip Wilson, for whatever reason, was trending yesterday. I'm not sure why, but there was a clip of him with Michael Jackson, and there was just like a little skit they both did, and Michael Jackson's back was turned, but you knew it was him as soon as he started talking. They were doing some kind of math problem on the board, and Michael Jackson was coming up with these weird things, and you just forget how longevity of Michael Jackson.
Yeah, man.
Yeah. And by the way, big recommendation if y'all haven't seen it, anybody out there, the We Are the World documentary on Netflix.
It's on my list. I still haven't watched it.
Oh yeah,
so good, so good. Yeah, it's ageless. It's ageless, and then just to see the people who were there and the people who weren't there, is you know, actually my pick is one of the ones who was invited but wasn't there.
Now I wish I could jump Jorge because I know who it was. Also, just a little note: if you are on Twitter, I can't get your tweets if you're tweeting like your halftime special. I'm sorry, I don't know why, I just can't. Okay, so go ahead, Jorge, your pick.
Yeah,
Prince.
That had to be it. Yeah, if that wasn't one. Yeah.
That was gonna be that was the one I was debating whether I should go one or not. But yeah,
it's. I mean, to me, I mean, honestly, one of the great performances, one of the great songs to be performed live is "Purple Rain."
In the rain.
The way he played it in the rain. There's like a little short documentary of that Super Bowl halftime show, and like the day of, they woke up and they sent him a message where he said, you know, that the people said, "Hey, it's raining. Just wanted you to know that." And he just said, "I want it to rain harder."
And
so
harder. Yeah.
And just to see him, and he's got that I don't know what, you know, that big sheet and that was in the wind, in the rain, and he's playing, and it's just the silhouette. His guitar's in the air.
Perfection.
All right, my pants just got tight.
Yeah. So I had to wear this shirt on the off chance that I'd get to pick him. So Prince.
Excellent choice.
That's the pick right there.
You're gonna have to
Did I
follow
take
my
it from you, Chris?
Yeah, that was gonna be my pick.
You thought Prince was gonna fall to? I guess you didn't know you were third. I was gonna say.
Yeah. That I was like,
you didn't know the draft order.
Yeah. But all right. So if it falls to me, I would say that I guess I'll go slightly more recent. I'll take Bruno Mars and the 2014 halftime show. For me personally, I didn't think it, like listening to his music or whatever. I thought love his songs, like when he was like first gaining some popularity, like 2012, 2013 and whatever. And then I didn't think that his stuff would translate to a live show because it just seemed like these are more bops. Like this is stuff that you like if you listen into your car and you know you're just you're rocking out like for a few minutes. But I didn't think he would be able to have a solid enough catalog to put on a halftime show. Like I just didn't think it. But then when he did that, what was it the drum solo? Like just out there, I was like, I didn't realize he was that like just talented of a musician. Like I knew he could sing up, but I didn't realize he was really like that talented. So to see all that put together, the choreography, like that to all displayed like all in one shot, I just thought it was just like that was for me one of those times where I was just like, okay, like this dude can do it all. Yeah. And so I thought that one was one that was like, all right, if for my purposes, at least for the third overall pick, I'll say like Bruno Mars, just for that, just level of surprise that I had of like who I thought he was coming into it, and then what I thought about him afterwards. He definitely that Shaq meme, like I wasn't familiar. I was familiar with your game. Yeah, like that really was like me coming into that because I was not familiar with Bruno Mars' game, but before that halftime show.
100% agree. I think I was in the exact same boat as you, where I was like, I don't know, and then I watched it. I'm like, wow, this dude's really talented. And completely blown away. 100%.
Totally love that. That was the New York show, right?
I think so.
The New York Super Bowl. So
Yeah.
Random side note. I once went to I had some friends. We would do a big kind of night out in Koreatown here in LA. Right before the football season started, and we would go get Korean barbecue and we go sing karaoke and just get drunk and be idiots. So we're having dinner.
Yeah.
We're having dinner at a really cool Korean barbecue restaurant, and then at one point they turn down the lights and they turn up the music, and they literally played Bruno Mars for like an hour straight at maximum volume. We're like, does Bruno own this place? Is he gonna come out and perform? We had
Is he
no
here?
idea.
Like,
We had no idea what
That's
was
so
happening, but
funny.
they played Bruno Mars for like an hour straight at maximum volume with the lights down. It was
Yeah.
wild. I will never forget that.
The staff is like every night with this, and the others is like every night. with this.
Every night.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
yeah.
it's like if I hear "When I Was Your Man" one more time,
Right, yeah.
Shannon.
I could have brought you flowers.
So I'm gonna go with. I'm just gonna pick who I like the most. Obviously, Prince and Michael Jackson, great picks. You know, in that same vein, and honestly, I love that we're in that realm. I'm just picking my favorite people who've ever performed, and I'm gonna start off with The Weeknd.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Unreal that they were like, yeah, let's have this guy perform, because I mean he has songs that have topped the charts for so long and everything, and obviously he's a great talent. That said, it's like also so funny to have someone like him who's like very dark. Like his art is like very dark, very hypersexual, very drug infused, and I'm like, yeah, let's fucking go. And I remember so vividly, one of my closest friends, he texts me, he's like, you're gonna believe this, but I just have to let you know, like, and this is like people back south, he's like, what? The group of people I was with were like, I can't believe they have this on the TV. This is some real demonic shit at work, you know? And I'm just like, yeah, it is. It is some demonic shit at work, and I love it.
Yeah, phenomenal.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I thought like, and it was what was really cool was there's a song he has called Glass Table, and he didn't play it, but there's just like a good, like, I don't know, maybe 7-second snippet of that song, like when it's transitioning from one song to another. But you have to know his like discography to hear it, and it's just like so good that like that got snuck in. And I'm just a big Weeknd fan. He's like my favorite, so that's who my number one pick is.
I dig it.
Yeah. The Weeknd. I was surprised that, especially, it's like one of those things where people, like older people, especially during like when Trump was running, they would be listening to Rage Against the Machine and dancing. You don't really listen to the lyrics,
Yeah.
the beat of the music, you know. And I think
Where
that
did they get so political?
Yeah.
you know, I think that was a lot with Bruno Mars. Like, yeah, you know, he's talking about blow and having sex, right?
Yeah, that's what
Yeah.
I remember thinking that when they picked The Weeknd, I was like, can he perform any of those songs?
Right.
Is he gonna be allowed to perform any of those songs?
Yeah.
Like, you guys don't listen to any of his lyrics. Like, okay,
Yeah.
that's what's going on here.
Yeah, okay. Yeah,
That's the thing too, is like Blinding Lights is like one of the biggest songs of all time. And so they're like, let's have the guy that performs one of the biggest songs of all time ever perform. It's like, great idea. And you know what? I was there for it. I fucking loved it.
Yeah.
Obviously. I was biased, but I was like, yeah, let's fucking do this. Let's tell kids about cocaine. This is sick.
Yeah, let's do it. Yeah, why not?
I think that's the thing, is like he even has a song how like he won an award from like Nickelodeon's Choice Awards about a song about doing blow, and it's like, you've broken the meta. We've done it.
Yeah.
It's like no one listens anymore. I'm gonna choose only because I think I love the band and I love the song. U2's 2002 performance, and only because I mean I love U2, but it was like in the shadow of 9/11.
Yeah.
And they did When the Streets Had No Name, and then they listed everyone who lost their lives on the big screen behind them on that heart-shaped stage.
Mm-hmm.
And it was just I thought it was just a miraculous performance in the time that it was performed. Like, I don't know if I would like U2 performing now at the halftime show. That that was like what was needed at that time, and I think they did a spectacular job. And plus, I just Where the Streets Have No Names is like one of my favorite U2 songs anyway. So
Oh
like
man,
tremendous.
when he opened up his jacket and he had the American flag in the lining of his jacket, just
And everybody just
Yeah.
splooged everywhere.
yeah, just I started crying at that point. Oh,
I think I may have cried through that whole performance, but it was like 2002. I don't remember. I don't know. So when I do, I try to forget it.
that was
the second
actually-
one.
Oh, I just wanted to add a quick side note to that.
Go ahead.
I
No,
saw
please.
them right before 9/11,
Uh-huh.
and then they came back around to LA again after. Totally different show, and
Yeah.
Okay.
with a lot of those elements, with all the people's names and everything.
Uh-huh.
It just, I mean, from that Super Bowl halftime show till throughout the remainder of the tour, just their tour just took a whole different feel and theme, and it was like about healing, and it was just, I mean, gosh, it was hard to keep a dry eye, and it was a brilliant show, the first one that I saw, but then seeing it the second time, it's still one of the great shows I've ever seen, even though they played largely the same songs.
Mhm.
But it's incredible.
That halftime show was just
Yeah,
it's magical,
Totally agree.
magical time. The second one, okay, Chris, when you said Bruno Mars, you didn't mean his with Coldplay and Beyonce, right? Not the
No.
2016. All right, that's
No,
gonna be
the-
the second one then.
Oh yeah, that's a good one.
But
Yeah.
only because Beyonce showed up with all her dancers dressed like Black Panthers, like in their Black Panther. Coldplay, not so. I wasn't so hot on, and still not so hot on. Not sure why they were there, but Bruno Mars was good. Beyonce in her limited performance in that was spectacular.
I mean, if you
of course-
remember, that was supposed to be the Coldplay halftime show. But I think-
exactly.
But I think
Yeah.
Coldplay realized that, like, hey, we don't have enough juice to carry this whole thing, so they brought other guests on.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I would say it's also too. It's what's weird. So I've been fortunate enough in all my time with the NFL. I've been fortunate enough to go to 2 Super Bowls in person. That was one of them, and I will tell you that seeing the halftime show in person does not have nearly the same impact because, like, especially where I was sitting, like, you can't really see it all that well, and the audio isn't all that great. You can't really hear it because the audio is made for television, right? It's not really made for the stadium setting. So it's like I didn't really get the impact of the Beyonce performance until, like, I got home.
yeah.
Afterwards I got home, like the next day, everybody's talking about it, and I go back and watch it, like, oh, that was actually kind of amazing. But from where I stood, like, I mean, you could kind of see Beyonce, and you saw a bunch of people dancing, but like you just didn't get nearly the same impact
Mhm.
of it.
Yeah.
It was
Yeah.
weird.
I can see that.
Yeah, I mean, I think probably that goes for all of them, don't you think? Like watching them there isn't the same as seeing like what I can't even because I know that Shannon's gonna pick this one next, but that performance probably didn't look the same. Maybe some of it was pre-recorded, but didn't look the same there as it does on TV. Like if I even went to a Super Bowl, I would like try to rush out and find a TV for the halftime show.
I mean, it's probably a
Mhm.
better. Like, pull it on your phone and see if you can like stream it on your phone or something
Yeah.
from the stands
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
it's probably a better experience in trying. Because I got that one I went the year before, which was Katy Perry, and I don't know if you guys got to pick Katy Perry, but the point, like, she comes out. Her opening song was "Roar,"
Mhm.
and I guess she comes out on a big, what I found out later was a big animatronic lion or something because the song
I
was
remember
Roar.
that. Yeah.
But from where I sat, I thought she was like on top of a giraffe, and none of it made sense to me. I was like, "Why is she riding a giraffe? I don't understand what's happening here."
That
And then
was
I
the
saw
one
it
with
later.
the guy in the shark costume.
Left shark, which I
Yes.
did like from where I was. I
remember that
couldn't
one.
see. I couldn't see left shark, so like everybody was joking about it and laughing about it, and I'm like, I don't really. So I had to go back and watch it after the fact. I'm like, oh, now I get the jokes. I get all the memes, but
Mhm.
where I was sitting, I
Left
couldn't see
shark.
any of that stuff.
Yeah. I love it.
Sorry, Shannon.
No,
Uh,
Jamie, that was not a real lion.
That was
I'm
not a
sorry.
real-
I'm sorry to disappoint you.
Unfortunately.
Hey,
Yeah.
I mean,
Sorry to
Travis, why are you
disappoint.
apologizing?
But what's your next pick? I'm sorry. Maybe I don't need to apologize. What's your next pick?
My next pick is Katy Perry. So to touch on it a little more, is that was the first real memeable halftime show. Like, if you remember the next day, like everybody was going on about Left Shark, and
Yeah.
Left Shark had a little bit of spark, like had a little 15 minutes there. It was just on things. And I went to see her show in Vegas, and Left Shark shows up. Like, it's still like it's a meme many years later, and that was like the first time I really remember it being that, right? Because like obviously we had the internet for a while, but just not in the same way that we do now. And Katy Perry is a God Queen. She is one of my favorites. I love her to death. That show, I don't love Super Bowl parties in that I want to watch the halftime show. Like that is it. Like that's why I'm there or whatever. And the people who like are talking about football during the game that don't know anything about football, obnoxious. Don't want to be around them. And then when the halftime show comes on and they're critical of everything that's happening while it's happening, I'm like, I would like it if you weren't, making noise right now at all. And so I do this thing where I'll go to a Super Bowl party for a little while, but I am racing, and I don't speed, but I am racing home to see the halftime show. And Katy Perry is one of those that I'm like, yeah, I remember this show and her coming out on the line. How incredible. And what a time for me.
You mean the giraffe?
Yeah.
Hey, you know what? That was about the point. I agree. That was about the point where my daughters were starting to get into music and especially lady musicians, and they're Katy Perry and Taylor Swift were starting to take over my household, and they were just locked in. So yeah, if you didn't pick that, I was going to have to keep face with my daughters.
I'm just, you know what? I'm just happy that they like your daughters and I have this in common, honestly.
There's a connection. I mean,
they enjoy good music. I enjoy good music. No surprise here.
All right, Mr. Allen.
So as we were like going through either before the show or at the start of the show, when everybody like came up into music. So I was born in the 80s. So like my time for like really like diving into music was when I got into college in like the early 2000s. So seeing Dre.
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
That was
scary. I mean, to see all like, because when I saw like the list of all of them, when the set list that came out for who was going to be on there, I was like, there's just no way. I mean, like, how do you logically transition? Like, I know like they were all popular like during like those time periods, obviously Dre and Snoop like well beforehand, but like, how do you logically transition from those guys to them, and then you had Kendrick come in as well? So it's like, so how is that all going to tie together? And then like, I thought they did just a hell of a job, like with all of that. I mean, it just like in each song, it was just like the moment you hear like the first beat, and you're like, oh my god, like it takes you back like to just like whatever memories you have from that time when you first heard that song. And that was just one of those, I think, a good like just moments of just watching like hip hop, like just generations of hip hop like come together and do an event like that. And I thought they did a really good job of it.
100%.
That was a great Super Bowl too.
Yeah. So I'll say this, Shannon, you said you rush home to see the halftime show. You should do what my wife did, which is basically we DVR'd the whole game, and she basically just like for the next week, every night she would just go back and watch the halftime show. She would just go to the DVR and she would watch the halftime show. She'd fast forward to it. She'd watch the show. She'd turn it off. Next day, she'd run it back and she'd watch it all over again. My other story about that, though, is that, had a chance to be on Radio Row that week leading up to it and interviewing a bunch of players. And honestly, like Jerry Jeudy doesn't know it, but he and I have beef over this show because we did a whole bunch of interviews with players and stuff like that. And we asked them their thoughts. And most of the guys were like, yeah, it's going to be cool. I'm super excited about it. And so we asked Jerry Jeudy, like, hey, what are you excited for the halftime show? Like, is anybody you want to see in particular? And he said, well, who's performing? Which should have been a red flag in and of itself.
Yeah,
right?
that's probably
like,
not
who's
good.
Performing. So we were like, oh yeah, no, it's Dr. Dre and Snoop Dogg and Eminem and Kendrick Lamar and 50 Cent and Mary J. Blige. And he said, Oh, that's before my time. I don't think I know any of their songs.
Oh,
And I felt like the Matt Damon meme where he's just aging like in real time. Like that was me. I was like, oh,
Even
he's like,
Snoop.
he was
Snoop
like,
is
Yeah.
we're like,
timeless.
we're like, Kendrick Lamar's not that old. Like he's
Yeah,
barely
Kendrick
Lamar
recent.
should
You know,
be
and he's
his
like,
time.
that's
Come
kind of my
on, man.
parents' stuff. I don't think I'm knowing any of those
I
songs.
was just about to say this points to some really bad parenting.
I'm like,
Yeah.
oh.
At that point, I would have seen if I could, like, really quick, just pull up like my Dynasty rosters and be like, I'm dropping you off of my Dino roster, sir.
Like,
There, that's it. That's it. You don't know these, but you're off my squad.
so
There.
yeah,
doing that.
Jerry Judy made me feel bad about myself, and so I will never I'll
Jerry
never
Judy should
forgive
feel
him for
bad
that.
about himself.
Hey,
Not
but
knowing
you
Kendrick
shouldn't feel
Lamar.
bad. You should not feel bad. That's the
Yeah,
thing
you
on
should
his
not feel bad.
parenting. Like, truly,
You
think
like,
about that.
"Oh."
You and Steve Smith are don't have good.
we don't really vibe. We don't vibe with
Yeah.
Jerry Judy like that, right? Exactly.
Just a guy.
And what's the common denominator there? That was Jerry Judy, not you two. So.
All right,
Yeah,
great.
That's right.
Just imagine having a progeny and then like not showing them anything good ever. Like, just imagine that. Like,
Because
imagine
clearly that's
being
what
like,
happened. You don't
Yeah,
have to
it
imagine
is.
it. That's what happened.
Man.
Like the idea that I would have a
That's
kid
just
and not
painful.
have them watch Big Trouble in Little China, get the fuck out of here. you
Right,
know?
right,
Like,
right.
get out of my ass.
my greatest moment as a parent so far, my son is going to be 5 in a few weeks, but my greatest moment as a parent so far is when I was like looking for something to watch and he said, let's watch Spider-Man. And I'm like, my job here is done.
Yeah,
I have
walk
I
off.
have succeeded as a parent. That's it.
Yeah.
We're
Box checked. See you when you're 18, kid. We're done.
Um,
good.
I can't, no wonder I never.
That's right, Jamie. That you made the right move.
You're the man. You're the man.
That's right.
Jorge.
All right, so I got two very special reasons for this next pick. Number one, this is one of my favorite performers of all time, Bruce Springsteen in the E Street Band.
Ooh.
And the other part is one of the great live performers. He's in his 70s now and he's still playing 3.5-hour shows. And so
Mhm.
but the other part was he was on tour and I hadn't bought, and he was going to be coming to LA in a couple months. And I didn't have tickets, but I told my wife, man, I really want to go see the show. My wife's like, no, that ticket's expensive and everything like that. And I was in one of those Super Bowl square, I was in one of those Super Bowl squares pools. And that was the year that James Harrison got that long 100-yard touchdown.
The pick 6 or whatever.
Oh.
The 100-yard
Yeah.
pick 6. That touchdown won me the halftime of the pool. So I just pointed to my wife. I said, "I'm going to Springsteen.
Yeah,
I'm going to see Springsteen," and I went to Springsteen.
Hell yeah, brother.
Thank you, James Harrison.
Yes, James Harrison is forever God for me. So
funny.
Marcus, handing to you.
All right. Let's see. I am gonna go. There's so many places I could go with this one, but I think I'm gonna go fairly recent. I'm gonna go with the dual Shakira J-Lo performance.
Yeah.
And it was. I know that was a year because I think at that point, Colin Kaepernick had sort of the blackballing of Colin Kaepernick had sort of begun, and the league was. They were sort of kind of desperate, I think, to find anybody. Everybody they went to was kind of turning them down for that one. They got Shakira and J-Lo to actually perform. And I mean, look, on top of the fact that, let's just be honest, they're two very nice people to look at. They just came out and crushed and absolutely killed it. It was a lot of fun to watch. So I'm gonna give them the nod here. And then do I get back to back? Am I going back to back on this?
Back to back.
So my next one, it's gonna be Lady Gaga, and kind of for similar reasons. Look, we talked about Bruno Mars and how Chris and I were like, I'm not sure if he's gonna be the guy. Like, I knew Lady Gaga had the stage performance or whatever to do a show. Right? Obviously, she's incredibly talented, incredibly popular. I didn't know if it would necessarily translate to a Super Bowl audience, but it started with her jumping off the. Didn't she like jump off the roof of the
That
stadium?
was a gif I remember people posting like
Right?
after
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
she started like jumping off the roof of the stadium there, and then just literally rocked out, you know. And so like, I don't pretend to be a huge Lady Gaga fan. I know some of her music. I think she's incredibly talented. But like that day, I was like, yeah, man, I'm in with it. I'm here with it for Lady Gaga for sure.
And the way she
That's
just disappeared at the end, she like,
Yeah.
it looked like she just jumped into a big hole and just
Right.
Yeah.
gone.
Is it over?
she's got like a I don't know if there are other sites for it, but she has like a museum of some of the stuff that she wears out in Vegas.
Oh, I believe
Randomly, yeah, walking through one of the casinos when we were out there a couple of weeks ago, and it's just like this small little area that's filled with like the masks that she's worn and like other just random outfits, and it's just like, yeah, that makes sense. Like you just
Yeah.
look at it for a second, and you're like, that's weird, but then it's like, oh, but wait a minute, she would wear this.
But
Oh,
it's Lady
okay.
Gaga, so it
Yeah,
works. Yeah,
It's not that weird.
That's what I thought Shannon was going to pick for a second, actually.
Oh man,
I mean, let's not say that it wasn't on the list.
she would have
Uh,
stayed. Yeah, it would have stayed with the Katy Perry theme too.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Oh,
Yep.
love it. So I'm gonna go old school again. And I'm a huge Beatles fan. So Paul McCartney.
Mm.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, just to hear those songs played at the halftime of a show. I know I think he said he's a football fan, but not
Like
that, you know.
like American football,
Yeah,
or are we
exactly.
talking like, you know,
I'm very
Exactly.
are we talking Liverpool? You know, like,
Yeah,
what are we
exactly.
talking about?
exactly. I think he watched Ted Lasso more than Friday Night Lights. So,
Probably, yes.
yeah. But just to hear Beatles songs at the halftime of the show is just absolutely special. Just couldn't do
I
it.
gotta ask you, Jorge, how do you feel about the new Beatles song, the sort of AI generated?
I heard about
yeah,
that.
I heard it once and I was kind of like, okay, I'm gonna go back and listen to In My Life again.
I was like, did it take you back, or like
No.
is it more just okay?
I mean, and I don't pretend to be the hugest Beatles fan, but like I've heard it a few times, and it sounds like someone trying to sound like the Beatles.
Yeah.
Uh,
And like a tribute band. Exactly.
Yeah, it's like, hey, we're a tribute. Like if this was a song that Paul was going to write now, like this is what it would sound like. And I'm like,
Yeah.
Yeah, I
No,
don't know
I'd
stuff
rather
like
go
that.
listen. I saw her standing there one more time. So,
Right.
And then do that, or the Abbey Road album, any of those. So no, good.
Beatles, great pick. Or Paul McCartney, great pick.
Yeah. Mr. Allen?
All right, so this one is just for the hilarity of the situation, because I could not think of a more like random pairing than Madonna and LMFAO like at a Super Bowl like halftime show. I was like, does this even make sense? Like, and it was honestly like I still remember watching it, and it still felt awkward watching it like in the moment. But
Mhm.
still, like it was, but still, I remember it. So I was
Yeah.
like, okay, so like it's good in a bad way, but still, like even when I knew this was gonna be bad, and it's still awkward. But I guess maybe I still kind of remember like parts and pieces of it. So it's like, oh, okay, well then maybe it wasn't like as as horrific like as I thought it was. But yeah, like that one was just like, what are we doing, guys? Like
Well,
why?
she's a great performer, and LMFAO, I mean, of its time, it was just crazy big for a moment there.
Yeah, and I think was
CeeLo
CeeLo
came
in that one?
Yeah, CeeLo came out and did, like,
Yes.
And he came dressed. Oh,
Yes.
He came
CeeLo
out
told
dressed
the
really
show was
cool.
like a prayer.
Yeah.
But it was CeeLo, so he's
Would
still-
LMFAO have been as big if if they weren't related to Berry Gordy?
No,
Probably not.
no, not at all.
So I don't know, because they hit that perfect. I mean, like that 2009 to 2013 time of pop music, especially, is pretty unassailable. And
Also, Party rock anthem still goes hard.
Yes. Party Rock in the house tonight.
Yeah.
The Party rock still goes hard.
Yep.
Oh, and Madonna, one of my all-time crushes. Yeah, top 5 crushes.
right.
So
Maybe.
Yeah.
I mean, there was a time where she was just. I mean, when you thought about sex, you just thought about Madonna. So
That was her thing, man.
That is
when
true.
Pretty great.
When
Yeah.
when she blew up in 1984, I was hooked for life. And actually that We Are the World thing, they showed like a picture of her because she wasn't one of the singers at the thing, and they just saw that, and my heart just skipped a beat. Good times. It was good times. Teenage me was very happy for those few minutes, for those few seconds.
I
Janet.
didn't know how big of a like music star that she was. I just remember that she was in Dick Tracy and A League of Their Own.
Right.
Like I
Right.
recognize, I remember her as like the actress, because when I was like coming up in like the 80s and like in 90s, I remember I watched Evita
Oh, yeah.
I think when I was in high school, like taking Spanish class, and then like remembered like from just seeing him in random movies, and then hearing her stuff on the radio. But I didn't realize how much of an impact that she had like when I was younger. And then of course once we got into like 2000s, like, oh my gosh, like yeah, her catalog and all that. But yeah.
Wow.
Oh, yeah.
Interesting. Because especially Dick Tracy, which so vividly colored, but
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I need to watch it. Like, I don't know if it still holds up, but I loved it at the time. Like, I'm not sure
Oh,
if
yeah.
it holds up, but
Oh,
I
it's
loved
great.
it then. Yeah.
So
And her music
It
in that too. She did the soundtrack.
Yeah.
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 it didn't. I don't know that it holds up, but it's like it actually is a marvel for what it is. I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because you had so many big people in it, and it just might not have been the right time. Is all.
Yeah.
And like, but the thing is, like everybody in it was like giving it their all. Nobody was like pulling any
Oh no,
punches.
nobody
They were
nobody
just, like,
phoned it in. No, I mean it
No.
was
And
like I said, I loved it. I saw it in the theater. I remember like with my dad, like I had a great time. I loved that movie.
mhm.
And now I want to watch it. I wonder if I can get my kids into watching this.
Well, you're the parent, so
Yeah.
but their
like-
phone's in a little lockbox.
Yeah.
So,
They're not old
yeah.
enough for phones yet, but still, it's like it's still one. Man, like this, they had a massive cast in there. I'm just trying.
Yeah.
I'm going through. Like,
yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Oh yeah.
All right, Chanel.
All right, I think we need to rush here, right? So I'm gonna go with one of my other all-time favorite bands of all time, one of my favorite persons of all time, and that is Aerosmith. I
NSYNC?
love, yes, NSYNC. I love Aerosmith. I always have, probably always will, I imagine. And that, I want to say that performance, they had Britney and NSYNC out, right?
Yes.
Is that right?
Yep.
And Mary J. Blige.
Yep.
I saw NSYNC on a beach in Florida, Fort Lauderdale, Florida, with maybe 200 other people. Like I saw them really early on. Not to say that I was a fan, but I got to be there, and they were shooting out T-shirts. Forgot one, I gave it away. What a regret I have. But Aerosmith, like, I vividly remember seeing, like, all my siblings are older than me, so I listen to a lot of Aerosmith because that's what they listen to, and I've always loved them. But the second time I ever cried in a movie was Armageddon when
yeah.
the
Yeah.
first time I ever cried was
That
Yeah.
the
song.
1986 animated Transformers movie when Optimus Prime
Yeah,
died.
when Optimus Prime died, that's still traumatic. That one's still rough.
That was the first time I cried. Second time I cried, Bruce Willis dying in that movie. And then I don't want to miss a thing. You can't put that on and me not just have all the feels. Like I'm not like
that'll
regardless
hit
of
you.
mood that I'm in, it's just like, yeah, I'm feeling something right now.
Yeah.
So
The song's good. I went back and watched the movie last summer. It was rough. It was a
I'll
rough
say it did.
no.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I figured that one wouldn't hold up.
The propaganda stands up to the test of time. I actually just talked to my buddy about this like
That's,
3 weeks ago. I've watched it twice this year already. Like it is
That's
really
dedication.
watching
Twice.
for me.
That is dedication, man.
Wow, that's
I did it
Wow.
once. And I'm
Yeah.
like, I think I'm good for a while. I think I'm good for a long while now.
That's okay. We can have different opinions. I also I love Liv Tyler. Like Liv Tyler and Lisa Silverstone being in Aerosmith music videos all the time. Hell yeah,
Yeah?
brother.
Oh,
let's
yeah, I
go.
remember
I'll give you that.
And a young Mila
Yeah.
Kunis in 2001, maybe.
I will give you that.
Yeah, huge fan of Aerosmith. So just another homer pick for me, picking people I love.
brilliant.
Okay. So my
Gladys for two.
my last pick of the third round is the Janet Jackson Justin Timberlake 2004
Yeah.
Nickelback,
Yeah.
Ah,
The
Mishap.
Mishap.
The wardrobe malfunction.
the wardrobe malfunction.
Wardrobe. That is, I think,
Wardrobe
that term
malfunction.
was used.
That was the
Wardrobe,
first time. Yeah.
yes. she not only initiated wardrobe malfunction, but I think that was probably the start of like people being really scared of what was going to happen at the halftime show, and so it being censored and it being like on a slight
delay. Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, it's funny. So the way Jorge feels about Madonna and felt about Madonna, that's how I felt about Janet Jackson. And when the wardrobe
Miss Jackson,
when the wardrobe malfunction happened, I actually looked away. I didn't actually see it live. Like I've seen it after the fact. I was heartbroken. I'm like, wait, you mean Janet disrobed on television and I missed it?
You missed it, yeah.
I missed it. Like, but yeah. I thought for sure. I mean, I loved Janet Jackson. I've seen her in concert multiple times. It's always been a great time. I mean, look, when I was 13, my best friend and I, being suburban kids who knew nothing about inner city life, we thought we were going to write the next Boys in the Hood and we were going to get Janet Jackson to do the soundtrack. Like we had it all planned out.
Hey, you still got time. You still got time.
You do. That's right.
Okay, and my final pick for the best Super Bowl is actually one of the more recent ones, Rihanna.
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah.
Yep, that was gonna be
Oh
mine.
my
I read
God,
somewhere she was like the first that Super Bowl show, she was the first billionaire to perform in the Super Bowl and also the first pregnant person to perform in the Super Bowl.
Baby
Yeah.
bump.
The
That was
big
when we
going-
didn't know she was pregnant until she showed up. And
she showed
and,
it.
like,
Like, I
she
remember
wasn't-
going, is she pregnant?
right, because she wasn't dancing a whole lot, and everybody's like,
Yeah.
is she pregnant? Like,
Yeah.
all
Mhm.
on Twitter was like, is
It was-
Rihanna pregnant?
Like I don't think the show was like one of the better Rihanna shows, but
No, she was
she
pregnant.
was pregnant.
Yeah.
She was pregnant, and she was up on that thing. I
Yeah.
remember going, "Please, God, don't let her fall." She's what is she doing up there? She's pregnant.
She's with child. Like, she,
She's with
Yeah.
Yeah, don't
her.
fall.
down from there, girl. Come down. But yeah, those are
If
my.
there's no
That,
greater sign of strength, it's probably carrying a human. You probably know. She's just fine.
but that is my final pick of the Super Bowl. Shannon, your final pick, or no?
Okay.
Yeah, Shannon.
So you took my final one, unfortunately for me, but that's okay. I'm gonna go with, and I don't have any honorable mention after this because I'm just gonna go out with the memeable one. But it's gonna be Creed's halftime show on the Thanksgiving Day game in Dallas. One of the greatest halftime shows of all time.
That's big facts right there.
I mean, the guy coming
Scott stabbed in
down.
a Cowboys jersey. Yeah, man.
Yeah, the guy coming down like with the curtain thing, like flying around like a little angel. I mean, what kind of
Wait,
what
what are we
spectacle?
talking about? What are we talking about?
Creed.
Creed.
Creed's
I mean, it's not a Super
halftime
Bowl
show.
one, but it's still pretty awesome. Like it.
Yeah.
Creed's halftime show
I
for
don't think anyone
Thanksgiving.
ever said Creed and awesome in the same sentence ever.
You're hanging out with wrong people, Gladys. Come on now.
Here's the thing. That Creed halftime show is sort of like Tommy Wiseau's The Room, where like in the moment you're like, what is happening? But the further away from it you get, you're like, yeah, man, I think I kind of dig this.
Yeah.
The thing is too is like I don't know. I mean, I'm on the internet all the time. But like Creed and like Butt Rock and all that kind of stuff, like Limp Bizkit, Korn, Deftones, all this stuff, like
Yeah.
all these early aughts bands are having this renaissance currently. Like they had a cruise last year. They're going on tour this year. It's pretty insane. Like Limp Bizkit stayed relevant, like realistically overseas for the most part, but like now they're having like an American tour, and like
Limp Bizkit.
Creed's having a big comeback right now, and it's not small by no means. So I'm picking that. I don't have any honorable mention because Rihanna was my last pick, but Creed was going to be my honorable mention. But yeah, Creed's my last pick for the memes, baby.
Creed
There
it
we
is.
All right.
Mr. Allen.
I'll just go ahead and take the most recent Super Bowl halftime show, like Usher, Luda. But it's not even for that. Honestly, the best part about it was seeing Jermaine Dupri get up there with whatever he was wearing. Honestly, I thought that was CeeLo.
My sister said the same thing. My sister's like, isn't he canceled? I'm like, Jermaine Dupri? She's like, oh, I thought that was CeeLo.
Yeah, that's what I thought. But then I was like, oh, this has to be like an ATL vibe. And I was just like, oh, CeeLo's from ATL. I'm like, wait, oh, that's Jermaine Dupri. Oh.
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
okay.
Yeah.
Now that's awkward. Yeah, but the rest of the performance was just I mean, just from them to seeing Lil Jon come out, like I was just like, oh, this was like perfect. And if they do
On
this,
roller skates, get out of here.
oh, and if they do something similar for New Orleans for next year, I
And
mean,
it's
Lil
Lil
Wayne has to. I mean, he has to be the headliner for next year. I mean, the moment that if they like turn off the lights like in the Superdome, and then you just hear that lighter flick at the beginning of like everybody's just gonna lose their mind after that. And it doesn't even matter what song it is. Just the moment you hear the lighter flick at the beginning of a Lil Wayne song, like just everybody's just gonna lose it.
Considering they let The Weeknd perform his songs at the Super Bowl, why can't we let Lil Wayne?
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm
Why can't we
saying.
let Lil Wayne do his thing?
Yeah, some people think weed's better than cocaine, but whatever, man.
Unless the Chiefs are in there again, and Taylor Swift will have to be the halftime show. So
Well, yeah.
Oh,
But we're gonna be backing that ass up in 2025. I can already see it coming.
Oh man. All right, for my last one, I am really torn right now. And it's probably I'm gonna do Tom Petty and the Heartbreakers. That's American Girl live is one of the funnest songs out there, and I'm still annoyed at myself. I was gonna go. He played a series of shows at the Hollywood Bowl. I was gonna go to one of the shows. It got busy, and then he was dead a week and a half later. So,
oh wow!
Yeah.
I mean, I saw him before, but would have seen him on his last triumphant goodbye. So
Yeah.
But I'm leaving you the closer, Marcus.
All right. Well, I mean, along the lines of, I think everybody has picked one of their favorite all-time artists. So I'm gonna go kind of way back into time. I gotta look this up to see remember what year exactly it was. Where is it?
Up with people, right? Up with
yeah,
people.
exactly. It's only Up with People. 1999. Stevie Wonder, along with Gloria Estefan, and Big Bad Voodoo Daddy. Apparently, I don't remember this, but apparently Big Bad Voodoo Daddy opened the show because 99 is like there was that period from like 97 to about 99 2000 where like ska music and it's not ska but swing got big again. People were like swing dancing, especially like in LA. You go to the Derby, people were like swing dancing and like Big Bad Voodoo Daddy was in that movie Swingers and everything. It was a whole big deal. But my dad's been a Stevie Wonder fan. I became a Stevie Wonder fan. It was the first concert I ever went to when I was a kid. Plus, if you remember, they brought out Savion Glover, who's a tap dancer, and Stevie got up from his piano and tap danced along with Savion Glover, only adding to the internet legend that hashtag Stevie ain't blind. Stevie's not blind because he got on stage and he danced around and nothing bad happened. Stevie can see, y'all. Just letting you know.
I remember Savion Glover dancing. That was awesome.
Yeah.
Nobody does Stevie Wonder imitation better than Eddie Murphy, though. But
Eddie.
Like Eddie's impressions are just world class.
100%.
Oh man, when he told Stevie Wonder he was doing a bad Stevie Wonder impression, it was great moments in TV history. Steve, one of the great voices, one of the absolute great voices,
100%
in music history. Like an angel.
Gentlemen, that concludes our greatest halftime, and you all did spectacular.
Oh, thanks.
This was fun. Thank you.
No, thank you for coming on. Before we go, in the order that you are seeing on the screen, do you want to tell people where they can find you? And if you guys aren't listening or watching any of this content, you are so missing out. And don't even think it's the off season because it's not, because these gentlemen are like just putting out content. And even like Shannon, who doesn't put out football content, I just like saw him get his head shaved and his mustache shaved on his Instagram, and it was spectacular. I'm just saying, I'm just throwing that out there. So, Mr. Penn, how can, where, and why, and when can we find you? Whoa. Okay.
Yeah, Marcus, go ahead.
Wait, where are we going? Which way are we going? I have no idea.
Yeah, you, Marcus. You started.
Okay.
Marcus.
So basically the best clearinghouse is to find me on Twitter at Marcus G, MarCasG. But I work for a little mom and pop shop called the National Football League. I do a podcast over there right now once a week called the NFL Fantasy Football Podcast. I'm also doing some stuff with Matthew Berry. I don't know if you've ever heard of this guy named Matthew Berry, working for his little side gig called Fantasy Life, where I get to do a show with a really smart guy named Dwayne McFarland, who makes me better and smarter at my job every time I sit down and talk with him. And then because like I don't have enough things to do, I picked up a little side hustle talking about some Dodger baseball at ESPN 710 out here in Los Angeles, and that show streams on the YouTubes. Just look for ESPN Los Angeles there.
The Dodger baseball.
Yeah, man. Shohei Ohtani. He's gonna him and Yoshinobu Yamamoto they're gonna lead us to the promised land after all these years.
Man.
Shohei already got a ring. I don't know if you noticed that. He got a ring already. He got married.
Yes.
Like
that's
Put a ring on it.
yeah, he like tweeted it out at like 9:00 last night, California time. That like it's just like a generic like, hey, by the way, I finally married this woman that I'm in love with. It was very low key in the middle of the night.
Speaking of all the single ladies, we left Beyonce on the.
We did.
Yeah, that one's like that one got left off. Destiny's Child.
I put her on with when she did the.
Oh, when you.
With the Coldplay.
Oh, Glass, you did put her on there. Yeah.
Mars and Coldplay.
Coldplay.
Yeah, so she did make the list, but she didn't make her with her own like
with her own. Yeah.
The one with Destiny's Child was legit.
Yeah.
Sorry.
That's Mr. Allen.
Wrong Alan. Sorry.
Which Alan?
You.
That would be Shannon. If we were going in order, it would be Shannon. Sorry.
Oh, that's right.
Okay. You can find me at Americana_Alan on Instagram. I share things about dogs, music videos, and cocktails.
His Instagram feed is pretty interesting. Very
And some hair
eclectic.
stuff.
Very eclectic. I love it. Even though there are no dogs talking, which is my favorite Instagram feed. Mr. Chris Allen.
Yeah, you can find me over at the same small website that Marcus was talking about. I work over at Fantasy Life with Matthew Berry and a number of other smart folks. So if you ever happen to pop onto one of their shows and you just hear some guy like vomiting out stats and all that, that's probably me. But yeah, that's what I do. So between some written content and hopping on a podcast here and there, and maybe doing a show with MG, that's where you can find all my stuff there. And if you happen to be in Indy this weekend, I'll be at the Combine. So if you happen to be out there to either talk about prospects or try and get a glimpse of what the NFL is thinking about for 2024, come find me, and I'll buy you a beer.
Are you gonna run the 40?
Oh no, I'll blow my Achilles the moment I try and run the 40.
I'll walk
Drink a 40.
Yeah, I will drink a 40. I'm not running a 40.
And Mr. Martin.
Oh yeah, you can find me on Twitter at Jorge Martin17. A lot of my written content is at Yahoo, and also I've got the Familia FFB podcast is still going about once a week, once every week, every other week, and also Dr. Edwin Porras and I are kind of relaunching the injury prone podcast. We'll be doing some off-season content coming up pretty soon, so check that out.
Gentlemen, I can't tell you how much I appreciate each and every one of you. Thank you for coming on. Thank you for doing the mock draft. You were, as I said, spectacular, and we did it in record time so that Mr. Grant can do his familiar.
I gotta go be a dad, y'all.
Be a dad, yo.
Well done.
Appreciate it.
Pretty much, it appears that you have little to do now that your 5-year-old wants to watch Spider-Man. So my
parenting job is done. Like
your parenting job is complete.
Make sure they listen to like some Dre.
Bannon and I.
I'm not gonna have him. I've never heard of Dr. Dre. Like I'm not gonna. If that's the case. So.
I think we should start calling that Jerry Judy. He will not be a Jerry Judy.
There you go. Yes.
I love you.
I like that.
The next show will be on the 14th of March with Shannon and I. We will be doing conspiracy theories mocking, and I'm pretty sure, I think that one's a little later. I think it's 6 p.m. my time, Mountain time that matters. For the rest of you guys, I don't even know. I can't do math. And I'm pretty sure Janie will be on that one, and Sky and G from the Going for Two and from Razzball. And once again, I want to thank everyone who's listening, everyone who will be listening, everyone who did listen. I appreciate you, gentlemen. Thank you so much. We will see you next time.